guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, this is another Marvel movie review. Today we're tackling the next film in the MCU right after Iron Man 2, Thor 1. Now, I do have this on DVD. I have actually a lot of the Marvel Phase 1 and a little bit of Phase 2 on DVD. I want to get them on Blu-ray, but I didn't want to watch this for the 15th trillionth time on crap DVD quality, so I watched it on Disney+. And this was actually my first time seeing it in HD. Pretty freaking cool, because, you know, when I was a teenager seeing this movie for the first time, you know, in preparation for, like, Lego Marvel, stuff like that in 2013, I was like, you know, this looks pretty good, you know? And it does. I think the CGI, a lot of this movie holds up in terms of really everything. So I do think, you know, this is kind of a controversy regarding Thor and his character, but, you know, Thor in Thor 1 and 2, Avengers 1, Avengers 2, he was more or less, you know, serious, the straight guy, you know, and I don't mean straight isn't that, I mean, like, you know, he played his character straight, you know, and then in Thor Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, he kind of got off the rails and, you know, jokey, funny, stupid, and, you know, if you have seen Love and Thunder, they do explain it, so I'm a little better with that now, but I do gotta say, man, Thor being serious is probably my favorite version of him, because it's really an evolution of his character. A lot of these characters in this film, upon knowing what's gonna happen, you know, in Love and Thunder, Endgame, you know, what have you, a lot of these characters go through arcs, which is really cool to see their kind of beginnings in this film, you know. Now, when this actually came out in 2011, they didn't have that, so, you know, there wasn't really much to go off of, but, you know, we know, without spoiling, we know where Jane Foster leads, we know what Heimdall leads, we know where Odin and Loki and Thor, you know, the reason why Thor is kind of more jokey in the newer movies is because literally, I think it's in one of the trailers, they kind of say that, you know, he literally got to spend time with Jane, and, you know, because if you notice when he's on Asgard, you know, Thor and the Asgardians and all them, they're more serious, you know, they kind of talk almost like Shakespearean, Lord of the Rings-esque, you know, it's like, oh, you're, you know, Heimdall in the end, he's like, Jane, she still seeks you, you know what I mean, like, no one on Earth would say that, you know what I mean, we'd say, oh, you know, they're looking for her. So, you know, they have a different way of talking, and Thor has that as well, but, you know, as the movies progressively go on, he gets more human-like, not Asgardian. So I think that's kind of a cool evolution of his character. In terms of Loki, I think he's pretty freaking cool. I think Tom Hiddleston is a really good actor. He's really good in this. In terms of negatives, I really don't have that many. I guess we'll start with that, just before I got the basics out of the way. Even when I first saw this movie, there's a few weird scenes. So, like, when the Destroyer basically bitch-slaps Thor, and, you know, or sorry, Donald Blake, and he dies, you actually see, you know, like, it's wire work, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of the new Marvel movies, they have CGI, they just completely, like, you know, when Tom Holland's Spider-Man lands on a freaking car and he's in the Iron Spider suit, it's just Tom Holland, and then they just CGI the suit, you know? Now, in this film, back in 2011, they had a lot of wire, and they still do wire work, but in this film, they had a lot more practical stuff than now. So, you know, he slaps him and Thor goes flying across the thing, like, and he's got all the scratches and all that, and just, I don't know, the way, like, when he hit Volstagg, I didn't mind it, because it looked more CGI. In this, it was a wire work stunt, of course, and you just see, you know, it goes like that, but it just looks kind of wonky. I don't know why. It just is. There's also a few shots where Thor's battling Loki in the end, in Asgard, and, you know, it's, you know, not necessarily wonky, but, you know, Loki's going, yeah, and just going, yeah, you know, the way they, like, muffled his voice, it sounds kind of more quiet and more muffled. On DVD and on Disney+. I don't know why the audio is like that. It's just, for some reason, whenever Loki in the end is talking, it's just kind of muffled and kind of quiet. Maybe that's to give the illusion that, you know, it's super effing loud around them with all this stuff, but, you know, it does give a bit of a, you know, a less of an I guess, outcome, you know, less oomph, so to speak. He's, yeah, you know what I mean? You're like, what? You know, what are you saying? You know, I don't know. But other than that, you know, those are very small negatives, you know what I mean? I think anything, you know, Destroyer hitting Thor, and just a few shots in there look a little cheesy in terms of the motion, but I think that this film is very well shot in terms of positives. We'll start with there. There's a lot of, I was talking to Echo Killshot, and he was like, oh, Thor sucks. I'm like, why? He said there's a shit ton of Dutch angles, or whatever they're called. It's where the camera is, you know, seeing something straight on, but instead the angle is like, or like, you know, it's slightly tilted, slightly askew to a, you know, a certain angle. And he's right, I didn't notice, I never noticed, but there's a butt ton of angles in this movie that are like this, and I don't mind it. I think it's kind of unique and cool. Something we haven't seen before in the MCU. I don't know why that's a reason to hate something. I'm not throwing shade at him, but I don't know. I didn't mind it. I think the acting is good. You know, I think the only MCU movie that doesn't have good acting is probably The Incredible Hulk. And you can go watch my review on that. I don't hate it. I don't hate that movie. Everyone else hates it. I don't. but it's got some issues. And I do think that, you know, the acting in that film is not as good as, say, any other freaking, maybe better than Ms. Marvel, but a lot of it is hit and miss in that film. This film, not so much. It's all very strengthful. I think strengthful. It's very strengthful. I think that I'm just making up words now. By the way, if you see any paint on me, I didn't roll around in shit. All right, I was painting, so just to let you know. That's a side note. But anyway, going back to the acting, I think it is really good. You know what I mean? I think that Tom Hiddleston gives a good performance. Thor is good. Chris Hemsworth is really good. And look, everyone poops on Natalie Portman in the prequels, Star Wars Episode 1, 2, 3, for bad acting. And look, I don't think Natalie Portman's a bad actor. I think she was good, bad actress, whatever. She was good in V for Vendetta. I didn't like that movie, but she was good in it. Yeah, I enjoy the prequels. I have a lot of issues with them, but you know, as Star Wars movies, they're great. As actual movies, eh. But I do think that Natalie Portman, in especially Episode 1 and 2, she's pretty good in 3. Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, I think really it's more or less the writing that suffers more than less her acting. Or maybe George was like, you know, just act that way. Well, CGI it in. It's going to look great. And I think maybe that's what they ended up doing. I don't know. But in this movie, she's effing good. What do you want me to do? Maybe she got like, acting lessons. I don't know. But she's good. You know what I mean? She's not stilted or not wooden. Or she's not like, hello, Thor, I am giant. You know, she's not like that. She's actually, she's good. You know, she's not robotic-esque in that sense. Everyone's good in this film, I think, acting-wise. And I think it really is cool to see Natalie Portman, you know, not sucking as an actress in a film that I've seen, which is pretty cool. So I do think that, you know, the acting across the board is good. CGI in this era of Marvel was good. You know what I mean? None of this stood out as, whoa. You know, and it's weird because this came out in 2011. You know, later movies like Captain America Civil War or even Black Panther have moments in them that look very bad. And I know, oh, it's CGI, you know, they didn't have enough time or whatever. I don't care. It still looks like crap. So in this, really freaking weird to see a Thor movie from 2011 looking better than, you know, Black Panther in, what, 2016, whatever? I don't know. But, you know, a lot of the CGI in this film looks good, but some of it has that blurriness effect. When Thor and Jane are driving, or, you know, when Thor is, whenever you're basically on Asgard and there's people, of course, that's all CGI. And it does look good, right? The world building of this, you know, Asgardian, Norwegian-esque universe looks freaking awesome. You know what I mean? The waves on Asgard. Jotunheim, how like that crazy monster was underneath the you know, I guess the ground. Jotunheim itself, you know, I mean, it all looks really, really good. And the world building here, the concept art, just the concepts in general, the execution of that world is pretty freaking outstanding for 2011. You know, comparing this film to Green Lantern 2011, I don't hate the Green Lantern movie, but it does look like barf compared to this film. Of course, I do think Marvel makes better films than DC, but that's just me. You know, I do love DC, but I had to mention that. But it all looks good for the most part. CGI looks good. Again, a little blurry once or twice, but nothing too crazy. It's really mind-boggling how well they were able to, you know, I mean, make this film actually work. Because, you know, in theory, you're like, oh, Thor, he's got Mjolnir, he's got a freaking red cape, and he's also, and he's going to thunder, you know, you got Asgard, and you got Loki, and Tesseract, and Frost Giants. It all can very much seem stupid. You know what I mean? Like, Iron Man is kind of dumb. It's a flying effing guy, but you believe it more than the god of thunder from Asgard. You know what I mean? That just sounds like a crazy crack pipe dream. But they made this movie work, and they made it believable, and they made it respectable. It wasn't, you know, I'm not watching Thor going, oh, this is the dumbest one, because it's stupid, because you can fly with a hammer, you know? Like, they made what seemingly is a kind of dumb thing to, if you really think about it, it seems kind of dumb. And they made it actually work, and, you know, they made me give a poop about this mythical god character, and all these and all these goddesses, you know, Sif and the Warriors 3 and all them, they all made it work, and they made it feel grounded and believable. And, you know, the love aspect between Thor and Jane is also really strong here. Selvig is good, Darcy's good, the Shield's coming back, you know, keep meddling with things. You know, Loki, his whole, I guess, reason for being evil, really isn't, really not evil, but, well, kind of evil. Kind of a terrorist, I guess. Genocide before Thanos, I guess, with the Frost Giants. But, you know, Loki always wanted to be Thor's equal. You know, Thor's here, Loki's here, or at least in terms of his own mind. Odin was harsh on Loki as Thor, but Loki, you know, it was really only him. You know what I mean? Odin never hated Loki. He loved him, but he had a weird way of showing it, I guess. You know what I mean? Because, like, you know, even he banishes his freaking favorite son, apparently, Thor, so, you know, whatever. But Loki always had this assumption that, oh, I'm not as good as him. Why? And then he discovers he's a friggin' frost giant. Okay, how am I connected to the Tesseract, or the blue box thing that freezes Heimdall and all that? You know, how am I connected to this? And he kind of feels betrayed and kind of just, you know, oh, I'll owe it to my dad. You know, I'll owe it to Odin, and I'll owe it to Odin, and I will just wreck everything. I'll kill every Jotunheim, every Jotunheim. I'll kill all the frost giants. I'll do all that, and I'll finally be worthy in my, you know, stepdad, I guess, you know, in Odin's eyes. And you know, Odin's like, no, dude, you were always, I never had a favorite. You're just a dumbass. And then he just lets go, and he freaking falls in space, and poof, he lands on Earth, and to, I guess, you know, torment Selvig in a way, and you spread chaos even further. Now, apparently, it's been confirmed that Thanos, or I don't know, someone was apparently in control of Loki the whole time, and that's why Loki goes on like a murderous rampage in the Avengers. If you actually know the true story behind that, make sure to tell me in this video's comment section, because I was under the assumption that Loki's just an a-hole, and he's just evil now. But apparently Marvel confirmed it's canon that he was being controlled. I'll have to Google it, but if you know, tell me. I'm assuming it's Thanos. I don't know. But overall, man, this is a very strong movie. I think, you know, there's one or two issues with the audio. A little cheesy. Some of the wire work can be a bit iffy sometimes. Some of the CGI looks a bit blurry in times. But the humor works. The humor lands. You know, Thor, the reason why Thor is funny in this isn't because he's trying to be funny. Like Thor in Thor Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, you know, just forgetting all the story content, you know, forgetting the canon reason why he acts like that. You know, just looking at him, he's throwing bowling balls into the building, and he's just going, oh, Thor, God of Thunder, you know. He's funny. He just is. You know, he's like Three Stooges on meth. And in this film, he's not like that, but he's still funny because the directing is funny. Because it's a fish out of water story. He doesn't know what the hell a car is. Or, you know, he goes to a pet store and wants to buy a horse. And the guy's like, look, we got dogs here. You know, call the cops. You know, he just walks in the middle of traffic. And that is also similar, I guess, prevalent in the film Wonder Woman. I'm not a big fan of that movie. I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite movie of all time. It's one of my least favorite DCEU films. But, you know, Diana had the same type of thing, right? She goes to Earth, and she was previously on Themyscira, and she's like, oh, look at the puppy, look at the ice cream! But that, I don't buy that, because I don't really know why I don't buy that. I don't know. I'm not sexist or any shit like that. You know, it's just weird. It's weird that, you know, I guess I have a different style. You know, when I read the Wonder Woman comics, she is very much a hardened battle princess. You know, she's not like, ice cream puppies! You know what I mean? Like Thor, I could buy that because he's kind of naive. He's kind of dumb. You know, he's headstrong. He jumps into battle. So I think that works for his character. So I do really enjoy the fact that they made him, you know, funny without him actually being funny. And that's what makes this film work in terms of the comedy. You know what I mean? It's not Thor going, hey, look, I'm Thor, the God of Thunder. You know, he just, I don't know. I can't explain it. I mean, I just did. But in 3 and 4, if you get my drift, he's trying to be funny. Or the director, Taika Waititi, is like, let's make Thor funny, because no one likes Thor, you know. And in this one, I often like Thor, because he's not trying to be a stupid goofball. He's just trying to be himself in a goofball kind of world that thinks he's completely on. Even Selvig's like, this guy's on, he's high. You know, he's going to freaking kill you, Jane. Don't get in a car with him. Don't drive out in the middle of the desert with him, you idiot. So all that makes sense to the world building. It's really cool stuff. The action scenes are great. I don't know, man. I really enjoyed it. Upon rewatch and actually watching it in HD, I noticed a lot of things more. The colors, you know, they popped out a lot more. So I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's one of the best films in Phase 1, at least. I think, you know, so far, it would probably go like maybe, I don't know, Iron Man 1, Thor 1, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk. I think that's my, so far. I still have Captain America, the First Avenger, and The Avengers before I take a bit of a break, and I'm going to actually watch all the Harry Potter movies, because I am going to Universal, and then sometime soon I will continue, of course, with Iron Man 3, Phase 2. But yeah, if you know the answer with Loki being controlled, tell me in the comments. If you want me to review Harry Potter, I think I reviewed Harry Potter once before for Harry Potter Month a year or two ago, but if you want me to do it again, I'm watching them, so if anything, it'll be free content for you guys, so make sure to tell me if you want some Harry Potter movie reviews. I am very excited to, you know, finish up Phase 1 of the MCU, and, you know, this really is a good movie. I really don't understand the hate for it. Again, it's not perfect, but it's better than what I remembered. And yeah, there's one or two cheesy moments, but I'm going to give Thor, let's see here, I'll give it an A-. How about that? Just a few negatives here or there, but nothing too insane that really ruins my immersion or really breaks the film in any, you know, regard. It is a very fun movie. It's a very heartfelt movie. The music is spectacular. The end credits scene, not with Loki and Selvig, I mean like the end credits themselves, like the effing, right after Jane and they're all packing up that last final scene, as the credits roll, where they're like traveling through space and all their whatever, that looks effing cool. That really always stood out to me as a teen, and it still stands out as an adult. And I enjoyed it not for the most part. I freaking loved it, and I can't wait to maybe get Thor 2. Of course, I'll touch it eventually. Of course, I'm gonna get to it. But everyone and their mom hates The Dark World. I remember loving it. So we'll have to see. I have some really weird-ass opinions out there, but still, hope you guys enjoyed this little review. Again, I'm going to give Thor an A-. Really enjoyed it, and it's, compared to everything in the phase 1 so far, it's very unique, and it could have bombed. You know what I mean? It could have been a very silly, goofy, dumb movie, but they made it grounded, action-packed, heartfelt, fun, emotional, and exciting. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.